week. A law enforcement source says he sent it to the league executives months ago.
And I just went in and went out, and somebody took my car, and the baby was in there.
A grandmother describes a moment of terror. A thief takes off with her car with her 1-year-old granddaughter inside. Good evening, I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ono, welcome to Eyewitness News in LA56. That strategy to get rid of ISIS includes U.S. airstrikes inside of Syria for the first time and more U.S. troops in Iraq. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is here live with details of the president's plan. Alex.
David, 91% of Americans now see ISIS as a threat. Remember, it was 14 days ago when President Obama said, "We don't have a strategy yet when it comes to ISIS in Syria." Tonight's speech was all about explaining that strategy to a war-weary country.
Our objective is clear. We will degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL through a comprehensive and sustained counterterrorism strategy.
A new poll shows that 71% of Americans now support airstrikes against ISIS in Iraq. The president is pledging to increase those airstrikes in Iraq and, if necessary, in Syria.
I will not hesitate to take action against ISIL in Syria as well as Iraq. This is a core principle of my presidency. If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven.
The president is pledging more support for Iraqi troops on the ground. He's also ramping up training for moderate Syrian rebels. And he sent Secretary of State John Kerry to the region to build an international coalition.
This is American leadership at its best. We stand with people who fight for their own freedom, and we rally other nations on behalf of our common security and common humanity.
Congressman Adam Schiff of Burbank says this fight could take years, and fighting in Syria is an enormous challenge.
And there's been talk that there will be training of some of the moderate forces in Syria. The question is, who are those moderate forces? Can you trust them?
Well, it's a very good question. I have to say I've been skeptical about this for quite some time because a lot of those moderate rebels, so-called moderates, aren't the least bit moderate. They don't fight together well. Often they fight each other, and sometimes they fight alongside of al-Nusra, the official al-Qaeda franchise in Syria.
There's disagreement on Capitol Hill on whether Congress should call a vote on ISIS just 2 months before the midterm elections. Republican Congressman Ed Royce of Orange County chairs the House Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Do you think that there should be a congressional vote before the midterm elections authorizing what President Obama was talking about tonight?
I think there will be a vote. I think the vote is actually going to be on the appropriations. I think it will pass overwhelmingly because, frankly, given the threats that have been made against the U.S. homeland and against our European allies, this organization is going to have to be taken down.
The president wants Congress to take a vote giving him more authority to act against ISIS, but the president says he has the authority to act even if Congress doesn't vote. Reporting live, Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Great story, Alex. Thank you for that. Russia will counter military moves by the U.S. and NATO with an array of new nuclear and conventional weapons. That's what President Vladimir Putin said at a Kremlin meeting today. Had his military successfully test-fired an intercontinental ballistic missile from a nuclear submarine in the White Sea. 2 more ballistic missile tests are said to be planned for the coming months. Russia-West relations have plunged to their lowest point since the Cold War times over the crisis in Ukraine. A NATO summit last week decided to create a rapid reaction spearhead force to protect Eastern Europe from Russian bullying.
What did the NFL see and when did it see it? That is now very much in question in the Ray Rice case. Commissioner says the league just saw the video of Rice punching his now wife this week. But according to the Associated Press, a law enforcement source says that he sent the video to an NFL office in April, and that source played the AP a 12-second voicemail from an NFL office number in which someone confirms the arrival of the video and says, quote, "You're right, it's terrible." The NFL said today, quote, "We have no knowledge of this." Reporter Aaron Katursky has more.
The NFL is still scrambling to get back on offense 3 days after Ray Rice's brutal attack on his now wife was bared for all to see. The league sent a memo to teams saying when the new video evidence became available, we acted promptly and imposed an indefinite suspension on Mr. Rice. Commissioner Roger Goodell telling CBS News,
"What we saw in the first videotape was troubling to us in and of itself. But what we saw yesterday was extremely clear, is extremely graphic, and it was sickening. And that's why we took the action we took."
Critics question why Goodell needed to see the assault before taking action. Documents obtained by ABC News show the severity was clear almost immediately after Rice knocked his wife out in an Atlantic City elevator 7 months ago. Police said Rice punched his wife, quote, rendering her unconscious.
The league was never strong enough, quick enough, decisive enough in this whole situation. And now it's trying to play a game of catch-up that it can't win.
Members of Congress from both parties, even one of his own players, have called out the commissioner.
The commissioner should be held accountable for his actions, because certainly that's the expectation for players.
The National Organization for Women called for Commissioner Goodell to resign, and also Wednesday ESPN reported new details of the moments after the assault when Rice dragged his then-fiancée Janae out of that hotel elevator. A security staffer told ESPN the football star said the woman was intoxicated and that he was just trying to get her back to her room. That source said when Janae regained consciousness, her first words were, "How could you do this to me? I'm the mother of your kid." Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
A scare for a grandmother in San Bernardino today when her car is stolen with her one-year-old granddaughter inside. Arlene Rodriguez says she had just strapped her granddaughter into her car seat in her car with the car and air conditioning on when she realized she forgot something in the house. She went inside, came back out in a minute, and her car was gone and her granddaughter inside. She and her neighbors called 911. Her car was found abandoned just 24 minutes later, about a quarter mile away. The baby was fine. The suspect was gone.
I want to say to the police department, thank you so much. You guys work so hard in the fire department. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.
So the search is on for the suspect who stole that car.
An Orange County school will remain closed a third day tomorrow, following an email threat. St. Mary's School in Aliso Viejo was deserted again today. Investigators are still trying to identify the author of that threat. Today, authorities learned the email was sent from another country, but declined to say which country. Email gave a description of a would-be shooter, but investigators still figuring out if that person is real.
It threatened that a school shooting would occur at a date and time that has already passed.
St. Mary's campus will stay closed tomorrow. Faculty and staff will be there. They'll try to figure out how they will explain the incident to students. It's unclear if students will return to class on Friday.
A brush fire breaks out along the 91 freeway in Corona, forcing the CHP to close down 3 eastbound lanes near Green River Road. It is now scorched about 39 acres and is about 25 to 30% contained. The fire erupted about 3 hours ago, quickly spread. The Highway Patrol considered shutting down the nearby 241 toll road, but right now that road remains open. No homes are threatened. About 100 firefighters are battling the fire.
A mountain lion that attacked a 6-year-old boy near Cupertino over the weekend has been tracked down and killed. This is video of yesterday's search. According to our sister station in San Francisco, KGO, the lion was killed after it displayed aggressive behavior. Fish and wildlife officials have been searching for the lion for days, adding traps and scouring rugged terrain. The lion attacked the boy as he was walking with a large group of people in a nature preserve on Sunday. The boy was hospitalized with cuts and scratches to his head and neck. He is now recovering at home.
The first death from last month's 6.0 Napa earthquake is a 65-year-old woman. While at home in Napa, a TV hit Lori Ann Thompson on her head during the August 24th quake, but Thompson didn't go to the hospital until the next day when she felt dizzy. Several people were injured in the quake, including a 13-year-old boy who broke his pelvis when part of a chimney collapsed on him. Napa County officials estimate the quake caused more than $400 million in damage. And a teenager injured when a chimney fell on him during that quake is speaking out tonight. Reporter Vic Lee has his story from Napa.
I couldn't feel my legs. I thought I was paralyzed. Was there a cut on my leg? Was something cut open? Is there something wrong with me that I'm not seeing or feeling? Yeah, it was pretty scary.
13-year-old Nicholas Dillon remembers everything that happened on the morning of August 24th. He and his friend were sleeping in the living room when the rumbling woke him up.
As I was starting to crawl, I put my knee on the ground, and that's when the chimney came down on me.
After a 10-hour surgery to repair a broken pelvis and spending weeks in 3 different hospitals, this 9th grader is finally back at home. He's happy, and so are his buddies.
As soon as they heard I was home from the hospital, I've had a lot of my friends come over and talk to me. That's been helpful. That's been awesome.
Nicholas was enjoying his first weeks as a high school freshman when the quake hit, but he's been studying at the hospital and now at home while he's mending.
Well, I'm struggling. I'm maybe a week behind in school, but I'm catching up.
But what he really misses is his soccer.
I love soccer. It was like, it's my passion. Being homebound, I'm not going to be able to play for a while, you know that? It sucks, but at least I can still watch the games.
Talking to Nicholas, it always seems his glass is half full. It's the positive attitude, he says, that keeps him going.
I don't want to look at it negative. I see this as a setback. I don't see it as something bad. I see it as a setback.
He's received a lot of get well cards and prayers from people around the world. He's known to many as the Earthquake Boy. So, what does he think of his fame?
When I was in the hospital, a bunch of my nurses told me, you know, kid, there's other ways of getting famous.
Vic Lee, ABC7 News.
Monrovia has had 2 furry visitors today enjoying one specific yard. A mama bear and her cubs spent much of the day in a shady yard at Ivy and Olive Avenue, south of Foothill Boulevard. They ate some avocados left in the yard, and one neighbor tells us the bears ate, they climbed a tree, came down, ate some more, then they climbed back into the tree. Wildlife officials say they will not tranquilize the bears. Instead, they will try to wait them out and try to get them back into the mountains. And people in Marina del Rey are still enjoying a visit from a young gray whale that wandered into the harbor. The story we first brought to you last night at 8. Marine biologists say this whale appears to be fairly young, about 18 feet long, and may have lost its way. Harbor officials say they plan to leave the whale alone and let it find its own way out to sea.
Much more news straight ahead here at 8 o'clock, including Shia LaBeouf back in court, what the actor has agreed to do in hopes of clearing his record. Plus this.
I was sure I was dead, or at least severely messed up.
He went to sleep in a hammock and woke up at the bottom of a cliff. Hear from the sleepwalking camper lucky enough to survive.
And new concerns over a Gmail breach that put millions of users' passwords into the hands of hackers. What you need to know.
And the heat is on. Temperatures, if you thought they were warm today, well, they're only going up. Details in the 7-8 forecast.
An incredible story. A sleepwalking camper is rescued after surviving a frightening fall, a 60-foot drop. Man never dreamed he would wake up at the bottom of a cliff. ABC's Gio Benitez has the test to show if you're sleepwalking without even knowing it.
It was a late-night drama in Kentucky's Red River Gorge.
All search and rescue. We have a fall. It was a 27-year-old.
Ryan Campbell camping with his buddies.
The last thing I remember is getting in my hammock and went to sleep.
Waking up to a real-life nightmare. Campbell, still asleep, getting up from that hammock, walking just steps to the edge of a 60-foot cliff and falling off. His friend watching it happen.
He spoke to me, I spoke back. He saw me get up and start walking when he just saw me take a step and disappear.
Amazingly, Campbell landed on shrubbery. No life-threatening injuries. But here's what's really scary. Campbell never thought he had a sleepwalking problem.
Obviously, the sleepwalking thing, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I've sleptwalked once in my adult life other than this, so hadn't really given that a thought.
Experts say almost 8 million American adults sleepwalk, but many of us don't even know we're doing it. Just last October, this woman in Boston sleepwalking right onto subway tracks. Others quickly rushing to pull her out. How can something like this happen?
The most common cause for sleepwalking disorders is actually sleep deprivation. So our country, we don't get enough sleep.
So how can you tell if you have a problem? Well, doctors say the clues are right in your home. If you wake up to things out of place or appliances you turned off, now on. As for Campbell, he'll keep camping, but
I don't care how rare it is that I sleepwalk, I'm not sleeping by cliffs anymore.
Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
A burglar in Florida made it easy to be caught in the act. Instead of making a quick getaway, he fell asleep. A cleaning lady found him sleeping on the victim's bed and called police. That's a bag of almost stolen jewelry on the bed next to him. Burglar was in such a deep sleep he didn't hear police taking his picture. They woke him up to arrest him and turning the situation into the nightmare for the burglar.
How do you burglarize a place in this? I don't
think I'll
get
take
that.
a snooze.
You truly are not too concerned about being in somebody else's house. Troubled actor Shia LaBeouf pleads guilty to disorderly conduct in New York City after admitting he's in treatment for alcoholism. The 28-year-old was charged in June after acting out during a Broadway play. During the show, he began smoking cigarettes, yelling at the actors, and swearing at the security guards. LaBeouf received no jail time or probation. If he stays in treatment for 3 months and out of trouble for 6, the case will be dismissed.
Right now we have Jonathan Novak and talking about the weather, and it's going to be hot.
It's going to be really hot.
Yes.
Was it hot today?
I thought so.
I thought so too.
Man. Well, I don't know. I was going to try to. I got nothing for you to make it because it just is what it is. It's going to be so hot this week. We're calling it dangerous heat over the next few days as temperatures top out heading into the weekend. Today it was beautiful. I mean, we only had a few clouds out there. Temperatures, as we look at that time lapse over the mountains, we're topping out in the upper 80s to around 90 in the downtown area. It was 87 officially in downtown. Normally we're at 84, already above average, but today was nothing. 75 right now in downtown. Same temperature over at the coast in Long Beach, but looking at the overall map, there are a lot of 80s, in fact. 86 Van Nuys and Santa Clarita, still 82 in Victorville, 84 Palmdale, and I'll step out of the way here, Palm Springs 96. Ooh, we're going to see triple digits for you as we head into the rest of the week, and everybody else. That's normal for you in Palm Springs. Everybody else is going to feel it as well. We're looking at the 24-hour temperature change map. So this is showing you right now that basically the temperature change from last night this time to now, 3 degrees warmer in Ontario, but 7 degrees warmer already in Palmdale, Van Nuys, Burbank. So those temperatures edging up each day as we get into the weekend. It's going to get really hot because of this area high pressure that's building in. I'm going to show you the track of this, basically how it's building in over our area, the timing I should say. Future scan showing you Wednesday into Thursday. It moves closer and closer, and then even Thursday into Friday, even still pretty much over us for the weekend. And that means that as we go through Saturday and especially Sunday, temperatures will be dangerous in terms of the triple-digit heat that we have. If you're heading outside and doing any activities, you're going to want to take it easy and stay hydrated. Now, in the meantime, all the way down to the south, tropical storm Odile, winds of 45, moving northwest at 3. Not an issue right now in the forecast. We're going to keep an eye on it and see how it plays out. Maybe some rain late in the game. In the meantime, temperatures hot tomorrow, 100 Santa Clarita and Northridge and Riverside, 102 San Bernardino. 7-day forecast, LA Metro and Orange County, 90 up to 91, and then Saturday, 94, hot. Sunday and Monday, the two hottest days, 96, 95. Man, it's just going to be very intense. Valleys, i.e., you've got 4 or 5 days of triple-digit temperatures. Hottest day we've got right now is Sunday of 105, the valleys, the IE, and the mountains getting into the 80s for a while. Friday through Monday, no rain anywhere, no rain relief in that forecast. We're just going to keep a few tropical clouds potentially from Odile late Tuesday and Wednesday. But look at that, the high desert 100 to 101 from Friday through Monday. Stay safe out there and keep hydrated, folks. Stay cool if you can. We'll have another check of the weather and some interesting video coming up in a few minutes in the next forecast.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Millions of Gmail addresses and passwords have been leaked to an online forum. Google says it appears much of the information is old and potentially out of date, but the person who leaked the file says otherwise. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Olguin has details.
A Russian website has published the addresses to more than 5 million Gmail accounts, along with a list of passwords. And while most of the passwords don't necessarily correspond to the Gmail accounts, experts say that security breaches remain a constant threat.
This is what's going on all the time behind the scenes.
Dr. Clifford Newman is a professor at USC and the head of the university's Center for Computer Systems Security. He says hackers sell and trade stolen passwords.
It is believed that this data was collected over quite a number of years. These aren't necessarily current usernames and passwords, although for individuals that haven't changed their passwords in 3 years or 2 years or however long, they may still be active.
This most recent incident came to light today after a Russian website that specializes in Bitcoin posted the list of passwords and Gmail accounts. Google says its system was not hacked. Instead, it's possible the list of passwords were fraudulent or obtained from phishing sites. And while the authenticity of the information on the Russian site is questionable, Newman says this should serve as a reminder to everyone that passwords need to be updated.
If it is a password that you are using on a regular basis, change it every few months, for example. That way, if the list comes out a year from now of passwords that were stolen a year ago, well, yours will not be on that list.
You know, I've never changed my passwords for Gmail. I've had them for years and never really thought about it, so maybe I'll reconsider now.
On the streets of LA, several people admit that they fail to change their passwords regularly.
We have passwords for everything now, and I challenge just to keep a running tab of my current ones, let alone changing them.
Recently, several A-list celebrities, including Jennifer Lawrence, had their private photographs stolen from their cloud storage accounts. And Newman says hackers will continue to target sensitive information so long as they see a vulnerability.
Once the data is out there, especially if it's out in the cloud, it can be picked up by others.
Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, an update on a convicted killer allowed to use Facebook behind bars.
Plus a scare for Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, what sent him to the hospital today.
And you know what's in your sushi rice. Details in a class action complaint claiming some rice came from a facility with vermin. A convicted killer no longer has a Facebook page. This is a follow-up to a story we first brought you last night on Eyewitness News. Alan Solomon was serving, or is serving, 15 years to life for the murder of a teenage girl back in 1995. And up until today, he had an active Facebook account. The family of his victim was outraged when they learned about the page, and they contacted our newsroom. Today, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation told us the page is down. Accounts set up and or monitored on behalf of an inmate are a violation of Facebook's user policies.
Toronto Mayor Rob Ford is back in the news, but this time it's because of a health scare. Ford has been admitted to a hospital and is believed to be suffering from a tumor. Hospital released a statement saying Ford had been complaining of abdominal pains that had worsened in the last 24 hours. Mayor has made headlines for his wild antics caught on camera and publicly admitting to smoking crack cocaine in a drunken stupor. He returned to work in June after a stint in rehab.
We're updating you the evening's top stories next at 8:30, including news of a former FBI official getting involved in the Ray Rice videotaped punching investigation.
Plus, President Obama lays out his plan for taking on ISIS, highlights from his White House speech.
And hundreds of federal agents move in on LA's fashion district. What was seized in their money laundering bust?
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, President Obama lays out his strategy for getting rid of the terrorist group ISIS. I'm David Ono.
I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan, and this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. President Obama has authorized U.S. airstrikes inside Syria for the first time, saying we will hunt down terrorists who threaten our country wherever they are.
It will take time to eradicate a cancer like ISIL. And any time we take military action, there are risks involved, especially to the servicemen and women who carry out these missions. But I want the American people to understand how this effort will be different from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. It will not involve American combat troops fighting on foreign soil.
The President also announced that he is sending nearly 500 more U.S. troops to Iraq to help the security forces, bringing the total number of American forces sent there this summer to more than 1,500.
And on the eve of 9/11 tonight, a new alert. The head of Homeland Security and New York City's police commissioner is now warning the risk of a terror attack is at its highest in years. There's no specific plot, but the rise of ISIS and recent fighting in the Middle East is raising the level of concern. Sources tell ABC News that ISIS has created a new dynamic. New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton said today the terror threat is more dangerous than in recent years and warned that ISIS is the reason. And today, Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said that ISIS had the most sophisticated social media and internet messaging system ever designed by a terrorist organization.
On the eve of the 13th anniversary of 9/11, House and Senate leaders honored the fallen heroes of the attacks at a special Capitol ceremony. Lawmakers presented a congressional gold medal to each of the memorial sites where thousands lost their lives in the terror attacks. One medal will go to the Flight 93 National Memorial in Pennsylvania, one to the National September 11th Memorial and Museum in New York, and one at the Pentagon Memorial. The gold medal is the highest civilian award the U.S. Congress can bestow.
Our job moving forward from September 11th, 2001, for these past 13 years and into the future is to remember. Remember the individuals, remember their collective actions, and remember who we became that fateful morning.
Enacted in December of 2011, the Fallen Heroes of 9/11 Act directed that 3 gold medals be made in honor of the men and women who died in the September 11th attacks.
We have more breaking news here. The NFL has just announced that former FBI Director Robert Mueller will conduct a probe into how the league handled the evidence as it investigated domestic violence claims against former Baltimore Ravens player Ray Rice. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says Mueller will have access to all NFL records. And this comes after a law enforcement official told the Associated Press he sent a tape of Rice hitting his then-fiancée to an NFL executive in April. Goodell says no one at the league saw the tape before Monday when it went viral online.
An Irvine attorney is convicted of false imprisonment by fraud and deceit for planting drugs in the car of a school volunteer because of a perceived insult to his son. This was Kent Easter's second trial. Judge declared a mistrial in November when jurors were deadlocked. Easter is charged with helping his wife plant drugs in a school volunteer's car and then calling police. Easter's wife pled guilty in October and was ordered to serve 120 days in jail.
Opening statements today in the retrial of LA County Sheriff Deputy James Sexton. Sexton is accused of helping to hide inmate Anthony Brown, who was acting as an FBI informant as the feds investigated corruption and abuse at Men's Central Jail. Prosecutors say Sexton helped to create the plan to change Brown's name, erase him from the department's computer system, and even named that plan Operation Pandora's Box. The defense says Sexton was simply following lawful orders to keep Brown safe, orders that came from the top, including then Sheriff Lee Baca and Under-Sheriff Paul Tanaka.
A major money laundering operation busted in the heart of LA's fashion district. Federal authorities arrest 9 people and seize $65 million they say came from drug trafficking and kidnapping by Mexican drug cartels. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Starwood has more on what investigators say is just the beginning of their crackdown.
1,000 agents descend on the fashion district, smashing storefront windows as they conduct a massive raid. Under arrest, 9 people accused of being connected to a multi-billion-dollar money laundering scheme headed by drug cartels mainly in Mexico. Some shoppers and people who've done business in the fashion district for many years say they've never seen anything like this.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Maybe a security guard here or there, but nothing like this.
Agents seize millions of dollars in cash, some of it stuffed in boxes. They say the fashion district has been at the epicenter of the money laundering scheme.
There have, for instance, been couriers that have been stopped in front of businesses, delivering huge amounts of cash to those businesses.
Agents say the drug cartels devised the scheme dubbed black market peso exchange in hopes of transferring large sums of money from drug sales in the U.S. to Mexico, bypassing U.S. and Mexican money transfer laws. They say the fashion district stores acted as middlemen. The cartels bought merchandise from the stores at grossly inflated prices. The businesses in turn then ship the items to businesses they have trade partnerships with in Mexico.
They send their goods down then to a Mexican business they have a trade partnership with. That Mexican business then sells the goods, and the proceeds from those sales in the form of pesos then go to the drug trafficker.
Agents are on the hunt for these three suspects who they believe are in Mexico. This scheme had an even more sinister twist. Agents say the Sinaloa drug cartel even went a step further, kidnapping a U.S. citizen and demanding a $140,000 ransom for his release. Agents say the payment was laundered through QT Fashion Incorporated, which operates under the name QT Maternity and Undress Fashion.
The work that has been produced today is a result of many months, almost 2 years, of collaborative work between law enforcement leaders from local, state, and federal agencies.
Agents say as their investigation continues, they expect to make more arrests. In downtown LA, Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Nearly everyone working in California is now guaranteed paid time off when they get sick. Governor Brown signed a bill here in LA today that mandates up to 3 sick days each year and includes temporary and part-time workers. Supporters say the new law guarantees people won't lose their jobs or their paychecks if they or a family member becomes ill. Opponents say this will make it harder to grow small businesses.
It's an accusation that may make you think twice about eating sushi. A class action lawsuit claims sushi rice sold to California restaurants has been tainted with mold and rat droppings, and it's been going on for years. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Lee has the details on the lawsuit and reaction.
If sushi or rice are part of your diet, you may be part of a new lawsuit. A group, including 2 former employees, is suing the largest exporter of rice in the state. A class action complaint was filed with the Superior Court of California against Farmers Rice Cooperative, based out of Sacramento.
Every single person who has been to a sushi restaurant in the last few years probably has had contact with this kind of rice.
Brian Kabatek is the lawyer for the group. The complaint claims FRC knowingly mislabeled and misrepresented products to consumers in restaurants. The lawsuit accuses the company of using inferior rice, even broken, recycled rice, and pricing and selling it as high-quality rice, the kind typically used for sushi. The products listed include New Variety, New Rose, Imperial Rose, New Crop, Specially Selected, and Anniversary.
In some conditions, it may be as little as 15% sushi-grade rice and 85% other grades of rice.
The complaint also makes some disturbing claims about the way the rice is handled at the co-op. It reads, defendants store and maintain rice in such a fashion as to allow foreign substances such as insects, rodents, and their soiling, bird remains, and black mold to be present in its processed rice. Farmers Rice Cooperative handles more than 20% of California's rice crop. Concerning for consumers if the allegations are true.
I use rice like 3 to 4 times a week. So for me, it's a health issue that, you know, I'm concerned about my children's safety.
Farmers Rice Cooperative sent us this written response. These claims are absurd. We have been in business since 1944 and sell rice to the most quality-conscious customers in the world. Our rice is as safe as it gets. FRC has agreed to meet with the group behind the lawsuit. In the meantime, Kabatek sends this message to rice enthusiasts.
We're just saying be observant and see and wait and find out what's going to happen, because we are going to get to the bottom of this investigation, and we're going to find out what's happening.
Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, important health news, including alarming news about the amount of salt in children's foods.
Plus, kids with autism can have a tough time making friends. Tonight, a closer look at the cause of the social disconnect.
And we're seeing red. Look at this. We're taking you to the international celebration for redheads of the world.
Oh. Okay. 86 in Van Nuys right now, folks. You're going to wish the temperatures were there as we head into the forecast, because we have record-breaking heat in the 7 days. Stick around.
Starting tomorrow, hundreds of doctors, dentists, eye care practitioners, and other healthcare providers will be offering their services for free at the LA Sports Arena. Volunteers with Care Harbor LA handed out about 2,600 wristbands on Sunday and had an additional 1,400 available today. Despite the fact that covered California health care is available, the president of Care Harbor says there's still a need for the big health care clinic.
There certainly is an impact from ACA, but all the projections I've heard is that LA County is going to have 1 million uninsured 5 years out from now.
The Care Harbor Health Clinic starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday. Organizers say walk-ins will not be accepted.
Startling news about salt consumption and kids. A new report from the CDC says a whopping 9 out of 10 children consume far too much sodium. Much of that excess salt comes from kids' lunches, not from the cafeteria. Bagged lunches, especially with processed foods purchased at the supermarket, pack more salt than many parents realize. And dinner is the largest single source of sodium for kids, accounting for nearly 40% of their daily intake. The report identified pizza as the single saltiest food that children school-aged eat. Doctors say it's a wake-up call, and they're urging parents to look for hidden sources of salt in foods they prepare at home. And new research shows 1 in 68 children will be diagnosed with autism. And while no one yet knows what causes autism, researchers are getting closer to unlocking one aspect of what could be behind the social disconnect. Health specialist Denise Sedor explains.
Ask 16-year-old Austin Miller what's it like to live with Asperger's syndrome, and he'll tell you.
Generally, I would describe having Asperger's syndrome as being like a computer that's running a different operating system than what most computers are running.
Diagnosed at age 12, his mom Karen says she's always noticed a delay in the way he processed speech.
I would say something to him, and then I would say, Austin, did you? And then he would start to answer, and so I learned I have to give him more time.
Now a new study is helping explain why. Headed up by Dr. Mark Wallace, a team at Vanderbilt found what kids with autism see is out of sync with what they hear.
It's like a badly dubbed video is the way we describe it is.
It must be, understand?
In some, the timing can be completely off.
And we believe that that change in the binding of visual and auditory information is sort of a foundation for the problems that they have in things like language and communication and social interactions.
And that makes a lot of sense to Austin.
I think I can see like a couple of memories where I'm talking to my dad and like maybe his mouth was just a little bit out of sync.
Researchers are building on that knowledge by testing a new interactive video game that's designed to retrain the brains of those with autism, focusing on how rewards help the brain.
So it basically takes the tuning of the nervous system and it shapes it so that they get better.
The ultimate goal is to help kids like Austin communicate better. Denise Sedor, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Usually red-headed people stand out in a crowd. That's not the case in this crowd. The annual Redhead Days Festival held over the weekend in the Netherlands, and the festival began in 2005. Now it draws thousands of people for parties, concerts, exhibitions, and a celebration of all things ginger. One mother says that she brought her 5-year-old daughter to show her that there's nothing out of the ordinary about having red hair.
I was originally a bit disappointed. I didn't really want her to have red hair, but I don't know, kind of a lot of people know her by it, and same with me, so I guess I should appreciate it.
Just about 2% of the U.S. population are natural redheads. In Scotland, it's about 13%. Worldwide, though, redhead numbers are declining. That's because for a child to be born a redhead, he or she needs both a mother and father with the red hair gene.
Very pretty color. I love it. I have a redhead daughter myself. Emma's a little bit of a ginger.
Right,
yeah,
you do.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. Jonathan Novak is up next with a sizzling forecast.
Plus more dramatic video of the flooding in Nevada as a van is swept away by the water.
And in sports, if the NFL didn't already have enough problems, a former exotic dancer files a sexual assault lawsuit against Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Heat here, but a lot of rain in Vegas.
Flooding. And in fact, there's some video of this. It's incredible. Really, almost a really bad situation for a particular person riding or driving in this van. It was swept away. This is along the 15 freeway northeast of Vegas, and there you go. You can see there clearly. They're fine. The California couple managed to make it out okay, but the van, obviously, a total loss. It's about 50 miles of the 15 right now that's currently closed. In Nevada, it's going to be open, or will be rather, closed for the next couple of days, after which it will be back open. So live Megadopolis 7000 HD, no rain from Vegas all the way to the coast. We are really looking good for a day, maybe, before things really start heating up. But for today, I think it was, if you like today, you're okay. But as we get through the end of the forecast, it's going to be unbearable for everybody. Woodland Hills was triple digits today already. Riverside was 100. Arcadia 97. Lake Arrowhead, Anaheim from 85 to 93 degrees. It was a warm one for sure, but it's nothing yet. 82 in Burbank right now. On the warm side of things, it's 86 in Van Nuys. Good evening to you. And 96 Palm Springs, 70s from Santa Ana, Long Beach, Santa Monica. It's a beautiful night, clear skies, morning clouds, really not an issue. Maybe a couple of patchy clouds, but we're not looking at any real low cloud cover pushing inland whatsoever. It's high pressure. That's our weather maker off to the west. You saw it right there. Now, let me show you. This is the ridge of high pressure. What happens from Wednesday to Thursday, and then especially going into the weekend? It starts budging east toward our area. Here's the center of that high as we go through Thursday and into Friday, even closer to our area, and things get extremely hot Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with high pressure bearing down over us. Now, in the meantime, it would be great if we had any rain relief, which might come, as we've had several times already this hurricane season, from a storm down to the south. While we have Tropical Storm Odile, winds of 45, it's a weak tropical storm. It's moving very, very slowly at 3 miles an hour. If this were a faster moving system, we might get some moisture in here and have some rain in the area. That's not going to be the case until late in the game in the forecast. So in the meantime, we're talking temps like this for tomorrow. 100 Bakersfield, Ojai. 94 Simi Valley. 100 in Northridge and Santa Clarita. Really hot. 90 in Los Angeles, about 6 degrees above average, and that's just the beginning. 102 in San Bernardino. The 7-day forecast shows the hottest days will be Sunday and Monday as we go through the Los Angeles and Orange County areas forecast. 96 and 95. We're gradually warming up each day, and then we'll have a gradual cool down after that. Now, the valleys, i.e. dangerous heat, Sunday and Monday, right around 105. Sunny skies. It's going to be tempting to head outside, but then you'll feel the heat, and make sure to stay hydrated if you are going to be doing any activities this week through Sunday and Monday, and stay cool as best you can. Even the 80s in the mountains. Just a little bit of tropical cloud cover in the latter half of the forecast from Odile, but we don't know yet if that's going to really bring any rain. At this point, we're keeping that out of the picture. So just hot stuff. High desert 100 to 101 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Stay cool, stay hydrated. Guys, this is some of that heat that we always tell you that's kind of dangerous, and it's a particularly extreme heat wave that we're going into in the first half of the forecast. Dallas has more on ABC7 at 11. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said last night that he will not resign, but that was before Associated Press reported today there may be proof the league did indeed receive the Ray Rice elevator video last April. The league continues to deny any cover-up in the matter. One of Goodell's biggest supporters has been hit with a lawsuit. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is being sued for sexual assault during an alleged incident at a hotel room 11 years ago. The accuser, 27-year-old Jenna Weckerly, is a former exotic dancer. She's seeking more than $1 million. Boxer Floyd Mayweather was also sued earlier this month for domestic violence against an ex-fiancée. The undefeated champ criticized the NFL's decision to increase Ray Rice's suspension, saying it should have remained at 2 games. Mayweather was in Las Vegas today promoting a Saturday night fight against Marcos Maidana. 2 years ago, he spent time in jail on a domestic battery charge, and today he backtracked from his comments earlier this week when the Rice elevator tape was made public.
I was just getting word from people that it was a video out there. You know, I didn't know because I'm training for a fight. If I offended anyone, you know, I apologize. You know, I didn't mean to offend anyone, you know, and I apologize to the NFL and to the, you know, to anyone else that got offended. You know, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and I don't condone that at all.
And with the south winds blowing here in this
On to baseball now. The Angels running away with the AL West, looking for their 7th win in a row. Albert Pujols had a chance to hit for the cycle in the first. He laces a triple down the first base line, his first of the season. Next at bat, he lines a double off the wall, but is thrown out when thinking about going to third. And third at bat, he bloops one over the first baseman's head for the single. And all that's left is a homer. Bases loaded in the 6th, but as you can see, he grounds into a 6-4-3 double play, so no such luck. However, the Angels blast Texas 8-1 and are now 9 games up on the A's.
Local florists are giving away 25,000 flowers today just to be neighborly. Today is the 20th annual FTD Good Neighbor Day. Flowers by Robert Taylor in West Covina doled out nearly 5,000 roses. Rules are simple. The florist gives you a dozen roses. You keep one for yourself, and the rest you give away to neighbors. It's a chance to meet new people.
Why do you do this?
For my neighbors. I have a beautiful neighborhood, and we all just need a gift.
Hundreds of FTD florists throughout the U.S. and Canada participated in today's giveaway.
We have more news straight ahead here at 8:30.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Detectives get help trying to solve a murder from a group of cadets. And Max may not be returning to Dancing with the Stars, but you may find him dancing in the San Fernando Valley. We'll have these stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
The White House Visitor Center is finally ready following a 2-year, $12.6 million renovation. First Lady Michelle Obama got a first look at the center's new exhibits before leading the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Artifacts going on display include a desk where President Franklin D. Roosevelt sat to deliver his fireside radio chats. The Visitor Center is actually located a few blocks from the White House. It reopens to the public on Saturday.
City of Monrovia is now under construction, and the results will hopefully bring more people to the city. Ceremonial shovelers broke ground this morning on the Station Square project. $25 million undertaking is designed to complement the opening of the Gold Line station. Project will improve the infrastructure around the station and the surrounding streets. Gold Line will be up and running in Monrovia in 2016.
Downtown LA's Union Station was a real zoo this morning. A petting zoo, that is. These baby farm animals are appearing at the LA County Fair, which is running through the end of the month at the Pomona Fairplex. The animals actually took Metrolink to the fair, and the people going to the fair are encouraged to do the same. And to make things a little easier, Metrolink has added 2 late-night weekend trains back from the Fairplex. The Saturday train leaves at 20 minutes after midnight, the Sunday train at 10 p.m.
And thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next here on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
Remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 app. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 right here on LA56.